Alright, hello. We're back with Pokemon. Let's go.
Yep. Hello everyone. It's I'm Elrevolver, and today I'm showing you a run of Pokemon Red 80% Glitchless Classic. Should be pretty fun time. So first of all, we should hard reset, and I'm going to give a countdown when the run actually starts. Okay, counting down. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Red 80% Glitchless Classic, which is a pretty RNG heavy category because in comparison to normal Glitchless, this run bans RNG manipulation, which is a big part of Pokemon speedrunning actually. So we have to deal with everything the game throws at us, and because the first rival fight is can be pretty hard sometimes actually, we get a extra potion so we can easily finish it off. Yep. Even before this run started, I chose a special palette that lets me see through dark caves because it's Pokemon Red. And of course, we're gonna start with the only good starter here in Squirtle, which is used primarily to just defeat Brock easily. And yep, before Brock we will get our main, Nidoran male. So here we go. Okay, we don't want to see Growls. Growls are really bad because it just delays this battle so long. But it seems good. Seems like a good fight. The Growl was bad, but can manage. Yep. So because we're not going to use any RNG manipulations, we have to find our main Nidoran the old-fashioned way by just looking for it in the grass. It has a runnable Nidoran, at least level-wise, is 30%. There's a 30% chance to counter it, and we will use the technique that I explain when we get there to make it easier to find. So now we actually want one encounter so we can get some experience to reach level 8 before Brock. So Squirtle learns Bubble, and we want to defeat a good encounter, which is either a Rattata, level 3 or 2, or a level 2 Pidgey. We could also defeat level 3 Pidgey, but because it has only Gust, it will do much more damage than Rattata, like it just showed. It just used Tail Whip one turn. The tackle was a bit unfortunate, but it still did less damage than Pidgey would have done, because HP is of importance. So first let's Let's fetch quests. Bringing back the parcel. Yeah, and a bit about the route that I'm using. I'm going to play it really safe because there's a lot you can do in this game to be faster, but it's always a bit risky, and it's not really suited for marathon runs. But maybe we will see some good high-level strats here. There's not much to do here in the beginning, just a tutorial dialogue. So, now we have to run through Route 1 again. This time we don't need any encounters. We have all we need, rather. Okay, one encounter is pretty average. So. Okay, now we have to buy some Pokeballs to hopefully catch some Nidoran. Wanted to buy it less, but better safe than sorry. There's a high chance that we can catch this thing with 9 balls, but there's always also always a chance that we can't catch it, which wouldn't be good. There it is. But it's the wrong one, because it's too low level. So, what I'm doing right here is I manipulated a little bit the RNG. Or rather, it's called Disa manipulation. And the way it works is... oh, nice miss. The way it works is... when you encounter a Pokémon, you can approximate where the RNG currently is in the encounter table. And because I encountered a level 2 Nidoran, I knew that when I search for 2 seconds and then wait for 3 and then search for 3, I have a high chance to encounter a Nidoran we need, which flawlessly worked. I'm actually surprised. Here, a fun trick, swag potion. You can turn while picking up some items. Doesn't save time, but it looks cool. Okay, next up is the Viridian Forest, where we will take a really specific path to get through, because developers somehow managed to put in some tiles that can't spawn encounters. Like right here on the right side, there can't be any encounters. If you look closely, you can see that these tiles have a flower pattern in their right corner, lower right corner, which shows that. So the next battle is a little bit tricky because there's an encounter. The perfect spot for an encounter, actually, because if you get out of battle, like not like that, but like that, and buffer A, you can pick up that potion without getting a jingle, which saves like 3 seconds. So if there's an encounter, that's the place where you want it to be. Okay. we don't want to see poison stings because they do a lot of damage, and because Squirtle isn't quite strong enough, we have to tail whip it a little bit to make decent damage. And hopefully, we can take it down. And there's so much to talk about with this game. Because I crit the Weedle, the game ignored all stat changes, which made the tackle make less damage. That's why this is a 5-hit instead of a 4-hit, which can be sometimes pretty annoying. Because crits are supposed to be a good thing, and sometimes they just aren't. So now we come to everyone's favorite gym leader, Brock. There is a chance to lose this fight. Wait, I have to swap the Nidoran to front to train it, so that it levels up to level 8 after this fight and gets Horn Attack, which is a pretty strong attack for early game, which will be very useful in the section after that. But what I was saying, Brock can be pretty hard. Rock hard if you can say so, and because his Onix uses Bite, and if we have a bad Squirtle, we can't reliably defeat it in 2 hits, and because Bite is up to 3 or 4 turns, we have the chance that if it uses Bite as we use the first bubble, it can just survive and retaliate and one-shot us, which you don't want to happen. So, like, a big difference to normal Glitchless, that why it's called Classic, is Nidoran isn't perfect. It's far from perfect, actually, and to know how good it is, we're gonna check after this level up how some of the stats are. Oh, that's actually pretty decent. With this one, we don't have to worry about much, because it has decent speed and decent attack, which are the most important stats for Nidoran in this road. And yeah, nothing to worry about. This Nidoran is actually runnable for actual PB attempts. So here we swap options to set, because it's faster. So we don't get asked if we want to swap our Pokémon after everything we kill. Here we buy some safety potions after we sell Bitium, because it's not useful. 12 should be fine. Because we will later get a lot of money because of some nuggets, extra nuggets I'm gonna pick up. So money isn't really a problem in this run, luckily. So here, coming up, Route 3 is a really tough route, actually, with all these fights taking so long. There's a lot of opportunities for RNG to mess one up, and especially the trainer after this fight is notorious for ending runs. Like, he's basically no problem if your Nidoran is perfect, like in normal glitches. So with a subpar Nidoran, it's a different story. So here we want to conserve a bit of Horn Attack PP. So we try to use tackle if we are sure if it kills or not. If it doesn't, we just use horn attack again, like there. Here we are level 10 because we have had a level 4 Nidoran, which isn't that much different from a level 3 Nidoran. The only thing that's better with a level 4 Nidoran is Route 3, where we are currently at. So yeah, that fight is always easy. So this fight is very tough, like I said. So we actually gonna save in case we lose, which there is a non-zero chance of losing here. What I missed to say is Gen 1 is pretty bugged in many ways. Shocking. But there is one thing that we are passively abusing, which is called a badge boost glitch. Every odd-numbered badge in this game gives your Pokémon a boost in one of your stats. And Brock, being the first gym, gives you a boost in strength, 12.5% boost to be exact. And every time our stats are modified, the badge boosts are reapplied, which means that if we get hit by string shot, we do more damage, which is a pretty funny interaction. And like you saw there, Ekans can rap, and rap in Gen 1 is one of the most annoying moves ever, because as long as the enemy raps, you can't do anything. You just have to sit there and watch. Which is why you can't always win this fight, because if the Ekans just decides to rap all the time, you get no chance of attacking if you are slower than it, and that's most of the times the case. We are pretty lucky with this Nidoran because it has enough speed to have a speed tie with the Ekans, so a 50-50 chance every turn that we move first, which is pretty nice, Yep, like we saw there, a crits ignore every stat change, positive and negative. So we actually want to see some crits here against the Metapods and Kakunas to do decent damage. So it's a free hit. That's good. This fight there isn't much going on in this fight. Nothing really different to the fights before that. But after that fight, we have to catch a Pokemon that can learn Fly in the grass here, which isn't a problem usually, but there is a chance to encounter Jigglypuff, which is, I believe, 10% or so. So let's hope we don't find Jigglypuffs. Yeah, this fight is on average pretty slow because the Metapod just uses Harden and it takes forever to just go down, even though it can't do anything to us. But that's done now. So we learn Poison Sting, Poison Sting is an interesting move. We actually gonna use it a little bit because there's a quirk with moves that can inflict a status condition with the secondary effect. Because despite the option saying that animations are off, there's a Jigglypuff. Nice. Despite the option saying that animations are off, there are still animations in air quotes. And moves that can deal a secondary effect have a faster animation than those that haven't. So if Poison Sting defeats a Pokémon, we will use that instead to conserve some PP, which is a pretty important thing later on, to just have enough moves. So here we have to use the Pokémon Center to heal back, and we do this mainly for, you guessed it, PP reasons, because we had only one Horn attack left, and we will excessively use that move here in Mount Moon, which is pretty cool place to be sometimes. Most of the time it isn't, because of this. Because we don't manipulate RNG in this category, we have to deal with every encounter the game wants to throw at us, which does cost a lot of time and is basically the difference of a good run and a bad run. Like, you can lose up to 5 minutes in this in this cave just because of encounter luck, which is always sad when it happens. So we hope for least possible encounters. So here we take some optional battles to gain some experience, to make some later fights a bit more consistent, because we have a decent Nido, but it's not that decent. And because we only have Horn attack as a primary move right now, it can be a bit tough. Like, normally in Glitchless you grab the TM for Mega Punch, which is a slight upgrade to Horn attack. Not by much, but it gets the job done. And it just ensures a few ranges throughout. So that was the perfect place for a Geodude, because here we can skip the jingle for picking up an item again, which is always nice, always satisfying. So here we take this optional battle, because they give a lot of experience compared to everything else here. It's very efficient. Sadly, there's not much going on in this battle. It's basically just pressing A and hope it just ends quickly, so we can move on. Because after this fight, Nidoran will evolve into Nidorino and gain a bit of a boost. Like, stat-wise, we don't really care, because we will pick up a Moonstone and just evolve it into Nidoking. But the thing it got going for it is that it can learn Water Gun now, which Nidoran can't. And we will use Water Gun for the next optional trainer we will gonna defeat, which is a hiker with 3 rock Pokemon, giving us basically free experience, because they have a really good experience yield. And they make Nugget Bridge, which is the section that comes after Mount Moon. A lot safer. It gives us better ranges in general. Okay, here we teach Water Gun in a place of Leer because we won't need it anymore. So here's the hike I talked about. The encounters in Mount Moon are actually also a bit needed because we still need a Pokemon that can learn Cut. And because we only have a Pidgey and a Squirtle, we have to find either a Paris here in Mount Moon, or we have to later look for an Oddish, which is always miserable, and we just hope to find Paris. That is the best outcome. In this floor it's 5%, there's a 5% chance to appear. Here in this hallway it's 10%, so it's more likely. If we don't get unlucky, we should get in Paris, but like I said, it's not guaranteed. And here it's 15% actually. Like it gets higher the the further you go into Mount Moon. Oof. Didn't get too many encounters. Like, could have been more. But we take that. It's not a Paris. That's unlucky. Okay, here we use the Moonstone to finally get a final main Nidoking, which is a pretty insane Pokemon, especially in Gen 1, because it just learns basically every move, it feels like. It can learn, it gets a lot of coverage moves, which we are going to use later in the run, and it can use Horn Drill, which I will come to when we get there, because it's really broken in this gen. So this fight usually isn't a problem, but it can be a problem because this Zubat can use Supersonic and confuse us. Or we can just crit it. And yeah, confusion is every turn you have a 50% chance to hit yourself. And it happens. It happens more than it should. And if you hit yourself like 4 times, I don't know what to tell you. It's bad. It's really bad. Because in Glitchless you are actually a little bit lower leveled when you get here. So you have to do this fight with a Nidoran. And because you don't use the center before Mount Moon, you have limited amounts of PP. So you have to work around that, which is a bit hard to do sometimes, and confusion is always bad. It's just a bad thing in this game. Here we pick up the Helix Fossil, because it's faster to pick up, and we still have chances to get Paris, but it doesn't look like it. So that's unfortunate, but still fine. I have to embarrass myself later with the oddish design a little bit, but as long as I'm not the unluckiest person in the world, it should be fine. So here we finally arrive here in Cerulean, which is home to second gym, which we will delay a little bit because Nidoking is a ground type, and yeah, with her water types, Misty is not really an option because we don't really have moves for it. Here just I took the center not only to heal my Pokemon, but also to set it as a return point when I use Escape Rope later, which saves a lot of time. So, but here we have this notorious battle, also run ending potential, because his Pidgeotto can use Sand Attack, and if it uses Sand Attack, our accuracy is lower to 2/3, and that's really low. So we hope we don't get Sand Attacked, which is pretty lucky. We take a bit of damage, but it's actually sometimes faster to take damage in this game because there's a quirk with the state you're in when you have low health, which is called Red Bar. And in Red Bar, the game just runs faster in battle. Like a lot. Okay, that crit was nasty. I think I heal. Yeah. And in Red Bar state, the game skips level up jingles. That crit came in clutch. And every text box is 1 frame faster, and it saves a lot of time. It saves around 1 or 2 seconds per Pokemon in battle, because it also skips the Pokemon cry. And we will actually use that later in the run. We will manipulate our HP to have Red Bar for as long as possible and as long as it's safe. So, coming up is Naga Bridge, which has a lot of trainer that we have to defeat, and not all of them are really strong or notable, like this bug catcher. There's virtually nothing he can do except for tackle, which does pathetic damage, and this Weedle just is defeated in 1 hit, so it's not a problem, which is an advantage we gained from defeating the hiker in Mount Moon, because we leveled up to level 20 earlier. So this fight is oof. Because this Pidgey is a range, it's not guaranteed to go down, and remember Sand Attack? Yep, it has it too. Good showcase, good showcase. Luckily it missed because, you could be confused a little bit because status moves like Sand Attack don't really have a accuracy lower than 100%, but the way Red handles status moves is that the enemy has an accuracy debuff of 25% every time it uses a status move. So it's pretty cool that it can miss and doesn't always have to mess you up. After this fight, we will gonna use the rare candies to level up to level 23 to learn Fresh, which is multi-turn move, which will come in really handy because every time we use it, it uses 1 PP and it lasts for 3 to 4 turns. So it's really efficient to save PP, to not always have to use some Pokemon centers or PP restoring items. So here we're gonna check the stats so we know it. 2, 7. No, I don't want to abandon it. Oh my god, that would be run ending. Okay. Nice. Okay, our Nido has sadly 0 special, which in a normal run would be pretty bad because there are some scary ranges that we have to worry about later. But because this is a marathon run and I'm going to play it a little bit safer than usual, I'm gonna take an optional trainer and make those ranges guaranteed. So there's nothing to worry about. So this is the end of Nugget Bridge. We will just decimate this trainer because right now we are a little bit over leveled, which is a good thing because we don't have to worry about anything actually. And we are just going to one-hit almost. No, we are going to one-hit everything from this point on, up until Misty. And Misty is rough. Like if you made it through the beginning of the game, finding your Nido, which sometimes is just outstanding. You get through Mount Moon with least possible encounters, and then you get to Misty, and Misty is basically hell. We're going to save for Misty, and because we have 0 special, which isn't a split stat in this game, it's both offensive and defensive, we will take the maximum amount of damage possible, which doesn't help, to say the least. But we are going to save for her, so it's not a big deal if she defeats us like once or twice.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. We got $20 by the previous runner of Borderlands, Ugyu, saying, "Here are some good RNG blessings for Pokemon." Thank you very much for that donation, Ugyu.
Yeah, thanks for the blessings.
Yeah, back to Pokemon.
Okay. So now this one is blessed, so there's no bad RNG happening from here on out. So let's see how Misty will be going, because I sometimes have nightmares of this fight. But before that, didn't really talk about it, but there's this thing that I'm doing here. I'm going to somewhere over Nugget Bridge and stuff, which is story. Don't know about that because I don't actually read the text here. But we will have to get to Bill and help him out to get access to the SSN, which is the next place we are going to be after Misty. And there's an interesting quirk. I wouldn't call it glitch because we are here glitchless. There are no glitches happening. Everything is intended. And somehow you can use your escape rope in certain buildings. And Bill's house is one of those, which saves a lot of time and ports us directly to the Cerulean Pokémon Center. Which is nice. Which we're going to take because of Misty. Because, yeah, you will see. Hopefully not, but probably. Like, Misty can be easy if Nido has good enough speed to outspeed a star me. But with our speed, it's not the case. We have good speed, but it's not that good. And you have to have almost perfect speed for that. Like 13 to 15 speed TVs, which is, yeah, unlikely, to say the least. So, healing up. Oh, I don't want to heal again. No thanks. But nice talking to her. Okay. But just before Misty is another trainer, which shouldn't be a problem. There's a chance that it can be a problem, but it's very unlikely. And even if she poses a threat, we still have tons of potions. Like a lot. We have basically double the amount that you usually have at this point. Yep, she goes for Pack, because she can use... whoa, there was a Gen 1 miss. Nice showcase that was actually planned. In Gen 1 there's... I don't want to say glitch, because, like I said, everything is intended. But there's a feature in this game that every move that has 100 accuracy has a 1 in 256 chance to miss, which is almost 0.5%, like a little bit less than 0.5%. And that is the main reason that this run is never consistent, at least in the early game. There's always the chance that you just miss your fresh in a critical moment. Luckily it happened just now, so it won't happen again, right? Because that's how RNG works, I heard. So here, Water Gun is a good move. We want to see Water Guns, and we are through if we don't Gen 1 miss. Nice. With a crit for style points. Crit didn't even matter, because the first roll was pretty good. We don't have the best attack. It's 6 out of 15 attack TVs, but it's good enough for her. Because actually, which I didn't know for a very long time, Starmie is a 2-hit range for almost every attack stat that the Nido has. Which is disgusting to know, but we are through, we don't have to talk about it. So, here we come to this rocket. This Machop is a range, a 70% chance to be killed in one hit, which happens. If not, it wouldn't have done that much, because like I said, we are pretty over leveled. Like this Drowsy is level 17 and we are 9 levels higher. So it doesn't pose a problem. And our reward is Stick, which is a pretty good move. Because in Gen 1 it's 100 base attack, 100 accuracy, just like Earthquake. But it just takes 2 turns to hit. but we won't gonna use it as an attacking move because Nidoking somehow can't learn it, which is a bit strange, but that's what it is. But we will gonna use it to escape from dungeons and caves, just like we did with the escape rope, which saves a ton of time in the run in general. So here we have to look for Oddish, which is here because I desummed for it, which is pretty hard here because the encounter tables are pretty awkward for Oddish in this section, but it was actually a pretty good showcase for just what is possible. So I'm glad it only took 2 encounters to get this, because trust me, I spent a ton of time there just trying to find the Oddish, which should be pretty likely to get because it's only 30% encounter rate, but sometimes the game doesn't think so. Here we have a little bit of red bar. Like I said, if you look closely, here the cry was skipped, which is funnily enough one of the fastest cries, so it didn't really save time. But because our HP is a little bit low and I'm not insane, I'm going to heal it a little bit, our Nidoking, and learn Bubble Beam, which is very useful as a coverage move. And because it has the chance to lower speed, it has a fast animation, which, like I said in the beginning, is always good. If something lives with low HP, and you can just finish it off relatively quickly. So this Raticate was the reason I healed, but it didn't use quick attack, but it's fine. So here we're in Vermilion, and we're going to stock up on a little bit of repels, and additionally we will buy some para heals just in case, because there is a good chance that we will get paralyzed later, which is a bad time because our speed is then cut in 4th, and yes, speed is of essence in this in this run, which is ironic. So next up is good old rival battle. This might be the second hardest rival battle in this game, which is insane because it's basically the second rival battle. Because you can guess it, it's Sand Attack. And Sand Attack and Thrash have a really weird quirk. If you get Sand Attacked and you use Thrash, every turn that you use Thrash, the accuracy debuff is reapplied. So you won't be hitting anything. So I just swap out to my Pidgey, my trusty Pidgey, rest in peace, to cure myself from the accuracy loss. So we don't have to worry about it. So, level 27, here's the Raticate. Okay, that crit mattered, was pretty good. Now we just Thrash. Ideally, if you were to go for the fastest time possible. You would like to get a little bit low on HP here. Oh my god, this Nido is a critting machine. You want to get low on HP so you can get red bar and carry it throughout everything that comes after this point, after Search, after the third batch, and take it all the way to Pokemon Tower, where you get mandatory heal, which saves a lot of time, like minutes, several minutes, like at least 2 or 3 minutes. But I don't think I'm gonna do this here because it's of course connected with a little bit risk. And speaking of risks, we are not taking any here because I'm going to fight this gentleman to get an extra rare candy, which is really useful. And the XP that we gain here in this level, in this battle, gives us 20 level 8, 28 here, and now our ranges just improve a lot, which makes some very scary Pokemon in Rock Tunnel, which is coming up soon, sooner than you might think, and just guarantees that we can reliably one-shot them, which we couldn't because we have bad special, but with that little boost we can do it. So bye bye boat. And in the third gym there's a really annoying puzzle, which is just fitting. It's just fitting that it's a trash can puzzle because it is trash. It is pure utter trash. So here we do some menuing to learn cuts and teach Dick to the Squirtle. So, and here's the famous trash can puzzle. There is a way to do this optimally, which I'm going to try. Okay, here's the switch. So now, what they were meant to do probably was that it's in one of the adjacent trash cans, but because coding is hard, especially in assembly, they somehow messed that up. And for example, where I found the first can, there was basically a 50-50 chance that it was in the can that I first checked and in the can in the upper left corner where it eventually was. And funnily enough, is the upper left corner can is always, there's always a chance that the right can is there, which is frustrating to say the least. Okay, here we have some really safe red bar, which we are going to use like right after this fight. I think after the next fight. And so it won't save that much time. But here's the perfect opportunity to get red bar if you really want it. And if you didn't get it, there's always the chance to force it with by taking damage from Pokemon. Who would have thought? But I don't think I'm gonna do this because it's always a little bit risky, because you can always get crit or you get confused, and it's just annoying to have to deal with that. So here we have to listen to this old man talking about his lovely Rapidash for an hour. But we get a bike voucher out of it, which is pretty useful for our purposes in speedrunning this game, because it increases our movement speed by 2. The bike, not the voucher. But the voucher is exchanged here for the bike, which usually costs about 1 million Poké dollars, which is a hefty amount. So here we learn Thunderbolt, which is another great move for coverage. It's really insane what this thing can learn. It amazes me every time. So the next trainer is a little bit famous for her status moves that she can use, because she has Bellsprouts and Oddish, and Oddish can use Poison Powder, Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, and all of that is bad. So what we just saw there, that Absorb was optimal. Usually if you really want to go for the fastest through here, you would just use Thrash and hope that it hits 4 times, which is 50%. And even if you don't get the 4-turn Thrash, there's a 50% chance that you hit through Confusion that you get after Thrash. So it's pretty likely to get through, but it's a little bit awkward sometimes if you just get trapped in Wrap and paralysis and so. So here we actually have Red Bar here, which is amazing. It's fast. And it's high Red Bar, so I have a lot of HP to spare, 16. So I shouldn't be worried about anything for now. As long as I don't get a Gen 1 miss, which is always a chance. It's a small chance, but if it happens, it's always devastating. So, but in the worst case, I think I still have the full restore. Oh, that is a range? Okay, I didn't know that. Now it's bad. We should be able to do this in estimate, but it's rough. I didn't know that that was a range. That's probably has to do with me having, wow, Squirtle MVP. That has something to do with me having 0 special, which is pretty sad, but what can you do? Should be fine time-wise. Like, luckily I had this estimate pretty generous. So we will likely still be fine time-wise. But it's sad because now I have to, because we lost a little bit of money and we already used the repeller, so I'm gonna refill here. 1 repeller to get through Rock Tunnel. And we will see from there. But now we are going to have an easy time through Rock Tunnel, which is a positive thing. Oh man. But it wasn't that much of time loss. Maybe a minute or 2. Huh. Of course that happens. Why wouldn't it? Ah. Yep. Okay. Okay, now this fight isn't a problem anymore. There is that. That's really unlucky. I think it's a reasonable range. It's probably like, if I had to guess, 90% range. But, you know, sometimes you get unlucky. There's not much you can do about it. But we lost a lot of money. We lost like 6k. Which, like I said probably too many times, but it's fine. We would have gotten so much money. So it works out. So this fight could have been scary if we were in red bar, because this Oddish is a range with Thrash, but we can just crit. Oh man, this Cubone. The only time that I remember dying to that Cubone was when I Gen 1 missed, or accidentally used Thunderbolt, but this is a first. So, and like you can see, what I forgot to mention, because I used the palette that I used, we can pretty much see in Rock Tunnel, even though it should be dark. Which is pretty handy. Makes it really comfortable to just ride through. Okay. But I should have my money routes set up. I have to buy a little bit less, but it's working out. And this would have also been a tough spot with that bar, because she has a Pidgey, and it knows Quick Attack, which is always a little bit hard to adapt to, because you want red bar, and if you want to go for good times, you go for really deep red bar, so you have it as long as possible. And yeah, it's sometimes a little bit awkward. But luckily I just died, so one less worry. Here, this Growlithe can be a bit nasty, because it is a range also, and it can use Ember and burn us, which it doesn't, but in that case I would have had full restore still, so there wasn't really anything to worry about. It would have been just annoying to miss that range. Okay, in here we are going to collect some useful items, like our second nugget. and an elixir, which we will need. So, was one off on both. Okay. Luckily, we still have some Pokeballs left, so that's some extra money. And here we sell first. We don't need the full restore anymore. Here, buy 10 repels, 2 revives, just for safety, as we clearly need it, because this game is relentless sometimes. And on the roof, we get a drink for the wardens, because they are thirsty. And we get some additional drinks to exchange them for useful TMs, like TM48 and TM13. Nice. Getting trolled a little bit by the NPC. Okay. And now for the favorite part, buying the X items, which are really strong in this game, especially X accuracy, because in combination with one-hit KO moves, I gotta sell a bit. In combination with one-hit KO moves, you have an insta-win button. Because X accuracy is, unlike in newer gens, instead of increasing our accuracy, it just makes every move hit, including one-hit KO moves, which, unlike in later gens, don't use a separate accuracy formula, and therefore have a flat 30% chance to hit. And with X accuracy, it's guaranteed, which will be very useful really soon. But we don't have Hornbill for now, so we're going to have to get it. So, okay, was a little bit out of concepts. Okay, here. One big difference from Glitchless to Classic is that we are not allowed to use a certain feature, which is called Pokédoll glitch, which can skip the next section we are going to go to. So we have to do it all the way through, which is also a good thing, because somewhere here is the TM for Hornbill, which, like I said, is really useful. It's basically the defining feature of Gen 1 speedrunning. Without exaggerating, it's the one thing. Like, that and red bar is like Gen 1 in a nutshell. So, to push this really good hidden, well hidden switch to enter this dungeon with the best feature of this game. Here, these spinny tiles, they are so slow. It would be faster to just walk, but we got this. Yep. Skipping this section would save a lot of time. But we're not going to do that because we will not use any glitches. Not even those that aren't glitches. However that works. Okay. Yeah, that's the downside of dying early in Rock Tunnel, because there's not really much that poses any kind of threat here in Rocket Hideout, because we are still overleveled. We are more overleveled than before, because not only is Nidoking a beast stats wise and moveset wise, and you get it early, no, but it also has a really good level up group, which levels up pretty fast, especially in the early game. So, but these mini ties, they have they are good. They are slow, but mean. It's not like we are trying to go fast or anything, right? Yep. And after this next elevator ride that we will take, we are finally going to use our best move in Horn Drill, which is a fun time. First, some item management, so that everything is at its right place to save some time. And to make menus in general easier. So that one is special because I got the rare candy from the gentleman that we fought on SSN. Our menu is a little bit weird and unusual, so we swap our fresh water into and our rare candy, so that it's a little bit normalized, so to say. Okay. In this fight we are going to use Horn Drill, like I advertised, after this X accuracy. Because Arbok is next coming up, and it's not hard to kill it, but it's hard to kill in one hit. So Horn Drill does the job. Like, it's basically the same as if you would just two-hit it turn-wise in the whole battle, but why would you give Arbok a chance to attack if you just can't? So, coming up, level 33, which is a pretty good level for damage rounding. So this Ekans goes down in one hit, because the first Ekans was actually a range, pretty close range, like 83%, but with that it was guaranteed. Here Giovanni, he has a really interesting style of battling, which we will maybe see. He has a huge love for guard specs, which block status effects. But why would you use status effects against his weak Pokemon, is the question. Okay, he used Haunt Attack. He tried to win, but he just can't do anything against this unit of a Nidoking. Kangaskhan easily one-shot by Hornrill. And another level up, which is insane. Okay, now coming up the next rival fight, which, believe it or not, is actually not... It's easier than the last rival fight, because we have X accuracy and horn attack. I mean horn drill. It is an attack with a horn, but it's not a horn attack. And we have a good moveset now, a really good one. We were going to replace one move in the whole run, like Rock Slide. The only reason that we learned Rock Slide is so that we have a good move for Ghost Pokemon, because I don't know why, but Ghost Pokemon have a really good special stat, and therefore special moves aren't really good against them. But their defenses are paper thin, so any physical move like Rock Slide just decimates them. But there is a caveat in all of this, because it would be, even though it would be nice to just hit them, Rock Slide has the annoying attribute that it has only a 90% accuracy, and 90% accuracy sometimes feels like it has a 10% accuracy. And yeah, it ends a lot of runs. Like, it's insane. You wouldn't think that at first glance. Like, it's 90% accurate. It should hit like almost every time. But when it doesn't, it's a bad time. Like here. But luckily we only have to hit 4 of those. And only this trainer has 2 Pokemon. So there is that. And we hit. Okay. Okay, I think I will be kinda mad if if we hit all Rock Slides, because it's like dying to that Cubone. I don't know. I haven't recovered from that. Like mentally, it bugs me. Like really. Those are the things that should never happen. And like, it's just not fair. I don't know. But enough of that. Here we got healed from that heal pad. And it's basically the same heal as a Pokemon Center. So we don't have to worry about anything, because we have all of our attacks back. Full HP. Like, there is a chance, and it happened once, that we lose to Confuse Ray and Confusion Luck. But even if something like that happened, we have revives for that. So we can recover from almost everything. And we hit all Rock Slides, which is amazing. 4 out of 4. 90% accuracy. And it happens. Okay. Here's where we would... In Glitchless we would skip this fight by using a Pokédoll. But this is not allowed in Classic. So we have to defeat it with Ice Beam, which is a range, because we have 0 special. But luckily, we just one-hit. It doesn't actually have any good moves for us, or is strong enough. to use those moves, even if it had good ones. But it's just a little annoyance factor if something doesn't go down to one hit. Okay, here we clean up Team Rocket with their amazing Pokémon, because he clearly needed those Zubats and that Golbat, this is also range, by the way. I feel like I set it to almost every Pokemon that showed up, but it's true. Like, Nidoking isn't perfect, so sometimes it's just hard. Okay, here we're going to use X accuracy, just so we can reliably one-hit everything and don't have to worry about hypnosis from Drowsy. Which is sleep in Gen 1 is pretty brutal. Like, in later gens, you can attack in the same turn you wake up. But here, no. Waking up is one turn. Your turn is over. You just woke up. And, like, every time hypnosis hits, the situation is favored at least natural, against you. Like, it's bad. But luckily we don't have to worry about another Gen 1 miss. Nice. Was that the third or the second one? I'm not sure. But anyway, we don't have to worry about hypnosis or sleep tactics in general, because the only other trainer that has hypnosis is Agatha in the Elite Four, and at that point we have options. Like, for example, we get, after this fight and after talking to Mr. Fuji, we will get the Pokeflute, and it is used for waking up Snorlax, but you can actually use that in battle to wake up your Pokemon. So there's always an option for sleep. So it's no biggie. Okay. Now we're going to center again. And again, for the same reasons as we centered in Cerulean before Misty, or rather before Nugget Bridge. We center here so we have this as our spawn point if we dig out somewhere, which is the spoiler for what we are going to do later. But first we are going to go into this quest, this dungeon. It's the Silphco, which is a pretty tall building with many fights, and we are going to do exactly 4 of those. Because these are the only ones that you have to do. So let's see how it goes here. I was initially planning for if this run would be on slightly better pace. I don't actually know the pace right now, but if it would be on better pace, I would have tried to go for a really risky strat, which is like insane. That isn't strat, which I'm going to come to if I make it to the rival. That crit was actually kinda decent, because we want our HP to be low enough for later, for a strat. First here, picking up the card key, business as usual. And we're going to take this really shortcut to reach our destination. And coming up is the 5th rival fight, I think. And usually this fight could be hard if we weren't the Nidoking that uses Hornbill to defeat everything. And like I said, I initially planned on using a strat called Silver, which is basically getting a red bar in this fight and carry it over throughout the whole next section, just until after Koga, which is the next gym leader we have to face. And the way you would do it is you would use an X special and tank a Hydro Pump from this Gyarados. The one problem is Gyarados, the Hydro Pump from Gyarados can not only miss, but it can also crit, which is also bad because a crit straight up just kills at this point. At every point actually, because Hydro Pump is an insanely good attack if it hits. And if it misses, it's not that bad, but it's slow, because you would have to waste turns doing nothing, like using the Poke Flute. But it's a really, really cool strat, which is very risky because you have low HP in the next section where everything is basically approaching a level that is close to yours, and that makes things a little bit complicated. But it can save up to 1 minute, which is probably essential for getting a really good time. So right here, this Cubone is where you would most likely die if you would go for a Silver and didn't die to Gyarados, because it can use Bone Club, which doesn't do as much damage as you would think, considering it's super effective. But it's enough to just defeat you out of Red Bar. And the next spot where you would most likely be defeated if you were going for Silver is just around the corner, this fight, because the first Nidorino that he has can use Horn Attack. And yeah, that's where the story goes. But in most cases it doesn't use it. It likes to waste time with focus energy. Sometimes Giovanni, in his infinite wisdom, uses a guard spec. I don't know why. It's a thing with him. He's maybe sponsored by guard specs. Probably. But if you weren't lucky enough to get low HP, this Rhyhorn would be the one where you would manipulate your HP to get low enough. Because it also can use Horn Attack, and it's not as strong. So it can just push you over the edge of being optimal so HP wise. Okay, we have defeated every enemy here. At least there are none left. So we are going to just pick up some very useful items here and then just leave this place. Ooh. Didn't meant to go to floor 11, but it's not that bad. Yep. didn't even lose that much time. So here, really useful. TM26 is Earthquake, and here another rare candy. In some cases, we would also take the last item ball there, which is a Carbos, but our Nido is fast enough, so we won't need it, and therefore I won't pick it up. But I will pick up some Carbos later on, so that the fight against Agatha is a little bit more consistent, and so we won't need that much X speed, which I'm not sure if I have enough if I wouldn't go for Carbos strats. Okay, here, hello Snorlax, bye Snorlax, and we're good to go. Here we're going to pick up another rare candy. Really useful. I mean, leveling up is pretty good if you are starting to get under levels. And here we even pick up the PP up, which makes this just a lot easier on my part, because I can just horn drill everything the last champ has, because it has 6 Pokemon and we have only 5 horn drills now, and if we use a PP up we have 6, so it works out perfectly. So here big menuing. Okay, I'm even going to use the last rare candy, which you wouldn't normally do, but because I'm going to collect some Carbos, it's actually optimal to do that. Because of backspace. Because you're very limited in this Pokemon game. Because you have only one bag for every item that you collect, and you can only collect up to 20 different items, which is not much. Here we're going to go into the Safari Zone and catch some Pokemon. Okay, not actually, but we're going to get some items here. Most notably this Carbos. And if we go to the end of this, we will pick up the Gold Thieves, the Gold Thief and Surf. Oh, I accidentally. And yeah, which are items required for beating the game without glitches. That is, I mean, with glitches you can beat this game in like 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. But that's what we have to do without them. So, here in this house we get my promised Surf. Would be a pretty good attack actually, and Nidoking can actually learn Surf because it's insane. Because it clearly needed more moves. But I'm happy for that. But the problem with Surf is you can't unlearn it, and Ice Beam is just better in our case. Because it's super effective against most of Lance's Pokemon, and Surf isn't. So it's an easy pick. Okay, here in this gym, we actually want to take some damage. We want to take a lot more damage, actually. At least 10 hit points of damage. And the reason is, we are going to use a really cool strat called Boom Strats, and I'm going to explain it when we get there. First we have to clean these Drowsies and Kadabras, and the next fight I really want to take damage in this fight, but I think I'm gonna I'm not sure. I think I won't. I think I will stall on this fight a little bit to get hit a bit, so that we have the right amount of HP. Like in the worst case, we just the Nido is going to die and then I revive it, so it should be fine. So Thunderbolt, because it won't KO. There's Headbutt. All I wanted to see. I really would have liked to get more damage, but that's more than enough. So we just hope for good luck, like always. Here's the fight against Koga, self-proclaimed ninja. Really under this, no problem. But I think I don't have enough PP, so maybe I have to do some weird stuff. Okay, level 46. Here the last coughing, and now there's a wheezing, and we are going to use an elixir on it. So, use the next attack. That's fine, I guess. Now we're going to play some catchy tunes, and here's Self-Destruct. Usually, if you would play this casually, this would be devastating. Like, he just defeats your Pokémon. What are you going to do? But in the speedrun, this is actually the preferred outcome, because of our friend Redbar. Because there's this really cool, which is actually a feature, not memeing here, is that if you use a rare candy on the defeated Pokemon, it acts basically like a revive, but it has low HP, and that is key for basically the whole next section, because we are going to abuse Redbar like crazy, right until the Elite Four. But first we have to go on with the story and reach the next gym leader, which is Blaine. A really good trainer. I don't know who could be better, but didn't mean to abandon that. Maybe we are lucky enough to see what I mean with good. Because it's really interesting. And actual fun fact here, for the longest time I thought that the leading Pokemon that you use Repel with, basically, has to live to be used for that purpose. But you don't actually have to have a living Pokemon for that. So Nidoking can just do that, even though he's defeated, which is a funny little detail. Okay. But here we have to go through this mansion with a lot of Mewtwo lore, and we have to get a key to open the doors for the next gym. But before this, there's a really useful item here. The second carbos, which I'm going to use right now. After I used learned strength, which we will need in Victory Road. The only place where you really need strength. Which is kind of funny. Okay, here we used both carbos and another super repel just for good measure. And we are good to go. Here, we have this puzzle, big quotation. It's basically just use the switches. So we have to use this switch. I mean, who wouldn't? And here we have another useful, a rare candy. And finally, we have the last rare candy that we are going to pick up and or use. And we are going to use them now, because we don't have backspace right now. And we have to pick up the key that is right here. Yeah, that's the that's the disadvantage of having to use an Oddish, because usually you want to teach Dick to Paris, but because we weren't lucky enough to get a Paris, we have to teach it to Squirtle, and he currently has 3 moves that we can use in the overworld, which is a bit weird for menuing, because we have to press down twice before using Dick, which is a bit slow, but it's fine. Here we have to get through these quizzes, which are pretty hard. I mean, I don't know how many badges there are in this game. Here, no, Poliwag doesn't evolve 3 times. And oops, that was missed movement, but a little bit funny with the repel run out. Okay, Thunder isn't actually effective against ground type, who would have known? Okay, second to last. They're the main attraction of this run compared to normal glitches. Same Pokemon, same type, same level, aren't always the same. Which is why we struggle so hard at some points in this run. But it should be. The struggles should be over. Should be really consistent from here on out, because I did a lot of preparation. And here, maybe. And he used the super potion. Yeah, there's a quirk that makes Blaine use super potions even though his Pokemon are on full health. It's the fastest outcome, and it's the funniest in my opinion. He actually can do this on every Pokemon on his team, but we are fast enough to just one-hit them, and that's it. So we get the Volcano Badge. So, yeah, what I was forgetting to mention is that we were manipulating our back pretty actively in this one, which means that we have a full back every time we defeated a gym leader after a search. And the reason for that is that every time you defeat a gym leader, you get a TM, and because they think that's the greatest TM that in existence, they will talk and talk and talk and go on about it, how great it is. But if we have a full back, this dialogue is completely skipped, which saves a lot of time throughout the gym rush that we are currently on. Here. Sabrina can be tricky if your Nidoking isn't fast enough, but not only is our Nidoking fast enough as it is, we also use 2 Cowballs, so there shouldn't be any problems. Yeah, I think I haven't mentioned how one-hit KO moves work in this game compared to later gens. In later gens, there's a really weird accuracy formula that is used, and it's based on level and the difference in level from you and your opponent. But that's not a thing in Gen 1. In Gen 1, the only thing that is checked is if your Pokemon has more speed than the enemy's Pokemon, if you use a one-hit KO move. And if it is fast enough, it just has a chance to work, which is 30% the chance it has to hit. And that is the reason why we use X speeds, because later on, and I probably skipped some, because sometimes you don't really think about it. I think the rival fight in Sylph was one of those that you don't really outspeed everything on its team, especially the Simsala, the Alakazam, because it's just insanely fast. It really is a sweeper. And yeah, we are using X speed to be faster, to have one-hit KO moves have an effect on them. Which is why speed is so important in this one. It's debatably more important than attack, despite attack being the primary stat of Nidoking, which I think says a lot. Here, Erika was supposed to be the 4th gym leader, but because Gen 1 Pokemon is great, a great open world Pokemon game. You have the option to just delay it just before the last gym, like we did here, because we have now 7 badges and going to head to our last one in Viridian, where we already were, which is also pretty good game design in my opinion. Like, you basically run in a circle in this game. And yeah, and the first fight in this gym isn't really a problem. There's just a Rhyhorn rather, that is one shot, even though we have 0 special. Like we have the worst special and we still one shot every time. And but the next fight, the fight after that, is one that is usually tricky. Because there's not really a good way to defeat Machokes if you are low level, relatively. But because I have gathered all available rare candies and used them, and have decent attack, I have a guaranteed one-hit on everything on this team. Which is really satisfying if you watched any PB attempts from someone that is the point where if it didn't end anywhere else, it ends here. And it's just frustrating because there's really nothing you can do about it. mean, you could save before that, but it's slow. And usually I would have saved, but I know for a fact that these ranges were guaranteed, so there was no need to. And Giovanni is a fight. I think that's all that can be said about Giovanni, because he isn't really good. There's no way to really lose this fight, except for when you get a Gen 1 miss, and even then there's a good chance that you survive anyways, because his ace Pokemon, his Rhydon, has the perfect moves for Rhydon, because if you didn't know, Rhydon is one of the slowest Pokemon in this game. And this Rhydon has the moveset of Tail Whip, Leer, Hornrill, and Fissure. And if you remember what I said about how KO moves work in this game, and considering the speed of this Rhydon, it's not really useful. It just, like here, Fissure, what is that? And if it doesn't use Fissure, I mean, even if Giovanni has something that I haven't even mentioned yet, which is insane actually. There are certain AI types in this game, and Giovanni's AI is one AI that we call good AI. Good is in quotation because in most cases it's not good. And what this AI does is it checks for super effective moves, and if it has one, it always uses them. It's perfect time to explain this actually. And because Rhydon has Fissure, and Fissure is a ground move which is super effective against Nidoking, it will always use Fissure because its other moves aren't super effective. And you can see the similar things in this fight, because Agility is actually a psychic move, and Psychic is very effective against ground, not ground, I mean Nidoking, like poison. So it will always choose to use Agility, even though it doesn't do anything. So we can easily dispatch it. Here, a nice beam because Rhyhorn has bad special. And Gyarados double weak to electric moves, so... And we have used the X-Accuracy just for the last 3 Pokemon, so that there are no problems, because PP management until this point is pretty strict on every move except Thunderbolt, which, if you paid attention, I mean, I didn't see it. I know it just because I have ran this game a million times. But the moves I have left are now just Thunderbolt. So every other move is empty, because we managed our PP really good and we didn't miss. So here the last hurdle of the run, basically, is the Elite Four, and the Elite Four is actually not that hard, not as hard as you would imagine. I mean, they call themselves Elite, but there's not much Elite about them. We're going to use a really specific AI quirk of Lorelei, because she not only has good AI, but she has a additional modification to her AI, which we are going to abuse, and I'm going to explain it when I get there. But first, we have to get through Victory Road. where we don't have to fight anything. Luckily. Like, there are no battles that you have to do. Only battle is solving this boulder puzzle, where we can do a silly thing. Like, you can do something like that, which is called swag boulder, where you can turn while pushing a boulder, and you turn, and it looks a bit silly. It loses time a little bit, like I think 2 frames every time you do it, and sometimes it even uses up a step of your repel, which is weird, but... Oh, I accidentally exited. But yeah. But it's something that is sometimes seen as mandatory, because it's so cool. I accidentally dismounted the bike. Like you saw, every time you use it HM, you have to use it from your bag, basically from your Pokemon menu, which is a bit weird, but it's Gen 1. So, and right now I really have to resist to do swag boulders here, because, like I said, it uses steps sometimes, and the repel route here is actually pretty tight, so we can't afford to take more than 2 steps, I think. Or else we would have to repel early, which would waste a little bit of time. So we're not doing that here, but I think the last boulder I can do some swag. Okay. Because it runs out there, because I bonked a few times. First Elixir, then Repel, Bike. I did it in the wrong order, but it doesn't matter. Beginner. The window for that is actually pretty big, so it's really easy and it's fun. I like it. So, and usually you wouldn't really buy revives in a PB attempt. So, because we bought revives and because backspace is really limited in this game, we didn't have chance to buy any healing items other than the revives. So we are going to stock up on some full restores before the leak, and we are good to go. Okay, here. Like I promised, we are going to exploit the heck out of this AI. And how this AI works is, she has good AI. That means she will always use a move that is super effective. But she has a modification that says that on the second turn that her Dugong is in battle, it will always use rest, like right now. And we get a free turn for setup, and now we can just drill everything. That's why that's our second purpose of our HM friends. Now flying Pokemon. In theory, you could have also used Paras and Oddish, but Oddish would be bad because she has good AI and she has Rest. And Rest is considered a psychic move, which would be, if it would actually do damage, would be super effective against Oddish. So there is a roughly 50-50 chance, which isn't really a 50-50, it's just almost there because Gen 1. And there's the chance that instead of Aurora Beam, she uses Rest. And that would be really bad, because then we would have to hope for a 50-50. Okay, here Bruno. Bruno can really end this Nidoking if he would choose to wanting to win. Like, I don't think he wants to win. I don't even think that he's really an Elite Four member, because, yeah, he uses an X defend on Onyx. Like, wow. Onyx is already a really bulky Pokemon with high defense, and he uses an X defend to take less damage instead of attacking and winning, because the Pokemon in front of it has like less than 1/5 of itself. But I mean, to each their own, I guess. So, okay, the next fight is going to be played really, really safely, because there's a lot of RNG. Some even call her the Agatha Lottery because of that, because it's just that RNG heavy. So we are going to stock up on PP and use a full restore even to get full HP. And if we have not the worst luck in the world, we should get through this fight without problems. Because her Pokemon, they have all status moves. And that's always such a bad time. Because I used Carbos earlier, I am faster than the first Gengar, which is pretty close, actually. And so we at least don't have to worry about that. This Golbat can use Confuse Ray, which would really mess us up here. But it can also just use Haze, which is also not good, because it gets rid of all of our badge boosts. Like I said in the beginning, we have a badge boost in attacks, defense, speed, and special, because we have every badge in this game. So we do a little bit less damage, take a little bit more damage, because we have not 12.5% less stats, but close to. Not really sure about the math there, but because this Gengar has less chances to use a move that isn't Nightshade. Like, it has, I think, Confuse Ray, but it doesn't have Hypnosis, which is one thing less to worry about, which is always nice. And it just keeps getting better. The next fight is Lance. And let's talk about Lance. There's not really a good way, in my opinion, to do this fight with a Nidoking, because he leads with a Gyarados, which is super effective against our Nidoking. And it has Hydro Pump, which it's going to use every time, because he has good AI. And the way we are going to do this fight is we are going to use an X special to survive Hydro Pump, and then one-shot it with Thunderbolt. Problem is, Gyarados can also just crit, and that would be a guaranteed one-hit KO, which we are hoping it won't, and it didn't. That's nice. And after that, the fight is basically over, because the Dragonairs have our favorite move in agility, and because they don't have anything that's good against Nidoking, they will use it every turn. So we have free setup, so we can use an X speed to outspeed the Aerodactyl, because Aerodactyl is like the fastest Pokemon in the game. And we just don't want to deal with its Hyper Beam or Wing Attack or anything else that it's going to throw at us, so we make quick work of it with Ice Beam. And the last Ice Beam. that was Lance. And now for the champ. And oh boy. Glitchless Classic is really stacked RNG-wise in the end. Because there's so much that can go wrong. Like Lance can just crit you, Agatha can put you to sleep and confuse you. And here it just doesn't get any better because the champion leads with a Pidgeot. And we have to set up an X accuracy and an X speed to outspeed everything and one hit everything with Horn Drill. But in that time, Pidgeot can just attack us. And if it uses Sky Attack, we just have to pray for it to miss. Or it can just use Mirror Move. And Whirlwind. Which is basically GG. But if Sky Attack hits and crits, there's always a chance that Nidoking dies. And that is really frustrating. But didn't happen here. Was overall, I would say I'm happy with that run. Like the death in Rock Tunnel was so unnecessary, but there's nothing you can do about it. Things like that happen. That's the beauty of Pokemon speedrunning in general. Because no matter how long you play this game for, there's always a new thing that happens. And after we defeat rival and we are in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to count down for time. Or rather, not countdown. I mean, it's hard to count down, but I will say time when it's done, which is in about 1 minute. In about 1 minute, it's done after this dialogue. But I really like this category. It's like my favorite category in this game because there's just so much variance everywhere. You likely don't have the same run twice, and that's what I think is exciting. And also Anji Manips are cool, but yeah, they're also a bit hard sometimes. So yeah, I think it's really relaxing to run this game. So here are level 12 Squirtle. Usually it's not level 12 at this point, it's usually level 10. But because it defeated a Cubone, it really deserved this spot in the Hall of Fame. Okay. And time coming up after these text boxes. And time. Yep, that was Pokemon Red any percent Glitchless Classic. Really fun run. Can only recommend it. Yep, GG. And that's basically all that I have right now.
Any other shout-outs you like to make before we go into intermission?
I mean, shoutouts to Chadivi, the current world record holder in this category right now. I mean, it's just insane seeing this game had a really good year, and this category especially because there were 2 world records this year, and before that was the last record before that was 4 years ago, which is always exciting. And yeah, shoutouts to any Pokemon runners in general.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for the run.
My pleasure.
Friends, we'll be jumping into a quick intermission, setting up the next run, which is going to be WarioWare Move It by Todor Runs. So if you want to see some cool WarioWare shenanigans, please stay with us throughout the break, and we will be right back.